Welcome to the Moon God Pod. I'm your host, JwowLax, and today I have the ice cream man, StirPanCreamery. Uh, should I call you StirPan or should I call
That's
you
fine. Yeah, definitely.
what?
That's what everyone calls me around town too.
He's the ice cream man. He is a moon god, and he is very active in the community, which I always appreciate. Those guys that when I open up the Discord and I see the GMs and just the interaction, that's what makes Saku so special. Especially the elite group of being a moon god. The friendships and the relationships that we've been able to forge because we've been on this journey for so long. Um, I gotta. I just want to start from the beginning with you. Um, Take me to when you first kind of came into the NFT space because your story is that you have this ice cream shop in Colorado that you've been running for 6 years, I believe, and that takes a lot of capital and that's a lot of stress on itself and a lot of time commitment. And how do you come across like the NFTs and dive right in amongst this real life balance?
So how I really got invested in NFTs was I've been following Upscale Vandal for probably, I don't know, 6 years since right before my business. He always gave me like words of encouragement on his AMAs he used to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I just talked to him, and he doesn't promote many things, but when he does, they're usually top notch things. So when I saw him and Pusha T kind of pushing the Aku movement the night before it dropped, I didn't know what an NFT was. I thought I was just buying like a, I don't know, like a digital art frame, and they just sent you like a small frame, and it was just going, and I'd put it on my wall. Um, and that's what I thought I was getting myself into. But quickly after I've always buy two of everything of his, just because one to rock, one to stock. And yeah, so I bought two of those that night. And after I bought them, that's when I realized, I did not get what I thought I was going to do. It could be what I thought I was going to get. And so I started doing some research on YouTube, on Nifty Gateway and everything like that, on like what exactly this is. And they kind of said it was like a supreme drop for art, for really good artists, how they first proposed it on their YouTubes. So yeah, that's kind of how I got started in it. And yeah, it's been a great journey from there. I've collected all the chapters and everything since then. So
So the first NFT that you bought was Genesis.
yes, yeah, I
Wow.
bought two chapters. Yeah.
So it's almost like you're an actual like OG, like for because your beginning is Aku. So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Now you're saying like you were following Upscale Vandal. Like tell me about that because I had never heard of. I mean I'm a little older than you, and I
Yeah.
used to think that I was hip, but like last year when I was at Miami, I was hanging out with Push. I had no idea who he was. like I knew, like I was like, oh, he's a rapper, but I had no idea like to the level he was. And Upscale Vandal, like I love what he's been a part of this space, now, but I have no idea who he was. But you were following before this. What spawned that?
So I have one friend that's like, just like you said, like he's on it with everything, like every artist, everything. So like I would say 2013, 14, he showed me Upscale Vandal, and Upscale used to not show his face in any of his pictures. That was kind of his thing. And it
Mm-hmm.
was just kind of elusive for him. And he always had like the coolest stuff, in New York. And someone I'm from, Texas originally. I've always wanted to go to New York City. He was just someone that we followed and we kind of like just really looked up to. He always had the coolest stuff. And he used to have this whole, he was Bape everything. He had this whole Bape car, Bape headrest, Bape everything. So that's kind of how I was really into Bape back then. So
Is
that's
that
kind of how,
that bathing ape
yeah, Bape, yeah,
with
exactly.
the shark?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
So
I got a story about that.
but yeah, so he was that's kind of how I followed him back then. And yeah, dude, he's just been pushing, only quality stuff. So once I saw, Micah and the Genesis has really captured me, the music. like you were saying with Chris on the last one, how you cue it up when you drive and everything. It's like
Yeah.
the music was so, I don't know, it captivated me, a lot. So yeah, just watching that, him walking through the hallways with the tiles, with the paintings on the wall. Once I saw that, I was like, this is like the coolest thing I've ever seen. Like this character is something, and it's just something I really wanted to be a part of.
So the bathing ape is interesting to me. I'm not. I come from a poker background. Like my first career was a sportscaster where polos and khakis was my uniform basically. And then when I got out of that career and really kind of dove into poker, I was so happy because I could buy like Jordan velour pants and like hoodies. I had a clothing sponsor at one point, and so they just outfitted me. And so like the hoodies is like the uniform for Silicon Valley and crypto for
Yeah,
sure. Um, I remember there was this video that became very viral with this Asian kid, and it was called Rich Chiga. And like it was this Chinese kid rapping, and he had like this really deep voice. But what was so great is he had all these rappers like listening to it, thinking it was going to be a funny video, and they're like, "Holy crap, this dude's like legit." And he ended up getting like an actual like deal or something. But there was one rapper, and he had the bathing ape, and I saw this black hoodie, and I love black, and it had the like shark mouth on it. I was like, "What is that? I gotta find it." And then randomly, like a couple weeks later, I see a dude wearing like a camo one, and he told me what it was. So I order one, and I like it was a golden mouth of the shark, but it's from like Japan, and I'm not that big of a guy, but I'm like 6'3", like I get this, and I was like, I'll just get the extra large because I want it baggy. I couldn't even zip it up; it was so tight. So then I buy a different one. I get like a triple X, and it's still like tight on me. The cut for those hoodies is not really to American standards.
with
Uh,
the zip all the way up.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and now to be fair, like I put on a couple pounds during COVID too. So I was like, well, I've got to lose weight so I can rock these. But then I got my Aku hoodie now, so I'm pretty set.
I
Um,
wear my Aku stuff almost every day. It's I wish I bought more.
yeah, yeah, I got a t-shirt and a hoodie, and I definitely would appreciate like some more outfits. Did you get the plains hat?
I did not get the plains hat, no, not unfortunately.
I'm not a. I see you are a hat guy. Like I'm a beanie guy if I wear anything, but I also live in LA, so I don't really need to wear those too much.
Nice weather all the time.
Yeah. So so chapter one's amazing. When did you kind of decide that you were going to be all in and go Moon God? Because that I remember when me and Lovox had the opportunity to interview Micah pretty much right after chapter one dropped, and he was kind of explained to us exactly what the Moon God was going to be, without really telling us what Moon God was going to be. It's like this is going to be elite. It's like something really cool, and so we were kind of like, all right, we're in on this, but at the same time, you have two sets. Well, that's at that time, without knowing that we were going to get free chapters, that's like a $20,000 commitment to become a Moon God. So, what was the deciding factor for you to say I'm all in?
Doing more research on him himself, like I didn't realize he had past NFT projects from Aku, and then he has physical artwork on top of that. And just Micah himself is a very captivating type of guy. You hear the passion in his voice, you kind of you see the grind every day, So once I kind of saw Genesis and I saw how much I loved it, I started buying a little bit more NFTs. My second purchase was beige, and then I won a drawing and I flipped it for $2,500, and I was just like I was just like I thought I was I thought I knew it all and everything, just like everyone else, and
Easy game.
yeah. So I just bought a couple more of, I just kept winning drawings. I don't know what it is with Nifty Gateway. Like I win like almost every drawing that I enter, I feel like. So it's like I get super lucky there. So every drawing that I won, I just kept flipping it back into Aku, waiting for the next chapter. So like, and then I remember chapter 3 happened, and something messed up with the drop where it was like you can only buy one at a time. Oh man, I was freaking out because I saw them immediately go up because I knew, if there was going to be even less than there should be, the prices are really going to go up and it's going to price me out. So I was definitely freaking out then, but they made it right for everybody. So that was nice.
Yeah, chapter 3, I couldn't mint at all both times when it came back. Like, and so I had to buy all of them on secondary, and then I just kind of I have this weird thing where I start clicking, and I ended up buying like 4,
Yeah.
and then I actually picked up 2 more when they were around 5 or 6 last year, and I sold one for a good profit, but then my wallet got hacked and all that ETH went away, which is, it's almost like if you don't have that story in this space, I think everyone has that. I almost clicked on this link or almost connected, but especially this week in the NFT space, with the whole FTX thing, it's kind of scary, like where it is, but at the same time, like, you just have to be really vigilant, and we always say do your own research, and this isn't financial advice and stuff. But I'll put it in a real life. You took a risk in opening up your own store. Like you could easily have lost everything. You had your store through COVID as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I tell everyone that. Like, I opened up an ice cream store in the middle of the mountains where we're a winter tourist spot. It's like we got a foot of snow in Breckenridge last night, and yeah, it was. I took the biggest risk of my life. I worked at Nike for 10 years before that, so that's kind of how I learned how to run a business. But I was the operational manager, so I had all my PTO cash out there. I don't advise this. Everyone, every entrepreneur says this. I don't advise this to anybody ever. I had like 3 or 4 credit cards. I maxed everything out. I went to the bank. I got a personal, line of credit, personal loan. I did everything I can to get started. Yeah, I put a good 65K on the line, and just was like, oh, here we go. I'm just going to try and do this ice cream thing. And here we are 6 years later.
So what spawned the ice cream model? And I'm also curious, instead of like taking on a franchise like a Baskin Robbins or a Cold Stone, but to create your own brand.
I've always wanted to own my own business. My dad growing up, he always had this pin that he used to wear that just said, be your own boss, so that's all I saw my whole life growing up. So, and then he did the opposite, and I saw how the life that he lived, and I was like, okay, it's not terrible. But it's not what I want. So I kind of wanted to go a different direction in that life for sure. But what spawned it was I'm a big foodie, and I went down to Austin for South by Southwest like 8 years ago. And my friend was taking me to all the cool restaurants around town. And this was the last place he took me to, was a rolled ice cream shop down by Zilker Park. And yeah, once I got my Oreo ice cream and I saw him rolling it up right there, I was just like, I want to do this. And like, we never get anything cool in the mountains. Like we don't get anything from the city in the mountains. What's in the mountains has been there forever. Like there's like 5 places that just rotate spots basically. But other than that, it's the same restaurant. So I was like, I just want to do something cool, and create a good product, because that's what I care about. It's unique. It's something different. I don't really like to do what everyone is doing. So that's why I do rolled ice cream, something different, than everyone else. And yeah, I did a lot of R&D research on the rolled ice cream too, because a lot of them aren't that great, but finding the right butterfat, finding the right dairy producer, like everything, so try to do all the research.
So one of the cool things about being a moon god is we got the mega moon gods and the IP rights. There's been a lot of discussion in our chats, in the mega OGs, and how to utilize those IP rights. Is that something that you're considering using for your company or something different?
Definitely. I have a Who Decides War background Akutar with a ice cream cone in his hand. So yeah, I'm definitely looking at a little like subscription and have basically just for that. And I'll do like a subscription ice cream for pints and stuff. That's kind of the things that I've been planning. You know, I've been talking to Nifty Gateway if they want to do like a pass, something for that for everybody, or if I just want to do it for, you know, the Aku, Wisby, Teach, Trevor Jones community that I'm really into, you know. So I'm trying to decide which route we want to go. So because the Nifty Gateway got back to me about being a, you know, curator, and I told them that idea, and they thought it was pretty cool. So pretty.
I think it's interesting because you know, like I've got my buddy Dan, he just bought a mega. He's not an official moon god, but he bought the mega for the IP rights. And he's just, you know, we're constantly kind of just hashing out like different ideas for some of his entrepreneurial businesses that he's looking to use use that likeness for. I think that we haven't really kind of had like we've had it in the Discord, but the people at home and like not just on the fringe of Aku, like, you know, someone that has like maybe a chapter or just an Akutar, but even outside of our ecosystem, like what possibilities and not ideas that you're necessarily going to use, but maybe some of the ideas that were just kind of coming through your head when you thought about this opportunity with the mega.
I like what Andy Wynn did with his Board and Hungry, you know, in LA. Like I've been he owned I don't know if you know anything about the Board and Hungry, but the guy that opened that, his name was Andy Wynn. He co-owned After's Ice Cream out there in LA, and I've been talking to him for forever about ice cream, and just seeing how he, you know, monetized his ape and made it into a kind of a food industry. I feel like food is the easiest thing to find a connection with people on, not a super expensive base, you know, like apparel or anything like that. But it's so hard to think. There's so many avenues. Like I've heard some people, you know, just want to use it just as a just for their business, you know, because I kind of want like a character for my business instead of using, you know, just different things like cherry or something like that. Like finding that perfect Akutar to represent the business too, I feel like would be mine specifically would be great. But it's so hard to think, you know, because there's so many avenues you can go down with this specific right, you know, and especially I think it was it Doug who has the in Georgia who does all the Aku murals and stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like capture the youth, you'll capture everyone, you know. That's what Nike, that's their biggest thing, you know. They promote and they make everything for the young athletes, you know, like 17 years old, you know. You capture them, you can capture anyone, I feel like. So I like what he's doing there.
I definitely can see the food and like apparel seem like the easiest ideas, although not the easiest businesses.
For sure.
You know, one of the things that I kind of was conflicted on was, you know, what's the advantage of using this moon god or even an ape versus just creating your own, you know, like going on Fiverr and having someone create, you know, a character or something that you could use and just kind of be isolated. And the biggest thing for me that separates those two ideas and why the moon god is such a great move is because, you know, if you're doing what you're doing, and you incorporate it with ice cream, Doug's making murals with his, someone does clothing with theirs, like, and let's just say like there's an ape that has a deal with Old Navy, you know, and there's like Old Navy shirts. I don't know anyone, I don't personally know why someone would kind of buy that, but if Old Navy believes in it, then people are probably buying it, you know. And so there's that connection where if all these different verticals and different individuals are creating different enterprises, then that name recognition, you know. And I think Micah too always wanted to, like, Aku to him is his Mickey Mouse, you know. So if all these different places have Mickey Mouse, then it becomes recognizable in the long term.
Yeah, to me, it's believing in the project. You know, like if you create that IP now, and you know they support it now. Imagine 5 years from now. Like everything for me, Aku was always long term. You know, like building out the character, and then Akutars, and then them, hiring people to help build the story, and then everyone trying to build the animation. There's so much involved. And for me, it's like, man, if you get started early, imagine how popular you will be in 5-10 years when Aku gets to where we believe it will be, like,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the opportunity that I look at. I always look at, I'm glass half full and empty. Always I'm looking at what it can be, so it's like, I feel like that could be a huge opportunity.
You've already kind of incorporated Aku into your store. What do people say, like, if they see it, I'm sure they got to ask questions about it, but also when you're not that you're trying to onboard something, but when you're trying to explain what Aku, and let's just stick with what Aku is to the complete noob.
Well, unfortunately, I could not put the screen in my store, so I could not showcase Aku in my store at this one.
Okay.
But I mean, but I'll tell you, kind of what it's a generational character to me, that, like I was saying, that will captivate the youth. There's just, he doesn't. I kind of like the don't have a face, because you can build. I know emotions and face, that's huge, but the no face, you can build any story around that, in my opinion. It's like it's crazy to see between chapters him not saying a word, but you can feel all the emotions. Like if I can get everyone to just watch chapters 1 through 10, they'll be captivated by that animation alone. And then, like, I brought my dad down to a Cool World Miami last year just to show him, like what I'm invested in, and I brought him to the parties and everything. And it's crazy to see, like, he saw like how many people are there and how many people are invested in this and how many people love this character. And he finally saw, and he's trying to collect his own chapters now. So it's really cool to see.
I think that you bring up a good point, and Wiggles kind of touched on it about how, like, people can identify with, like, the ape, like this ape is them, and that becomes their identity. With the helmet, I think if it was solely just the Akutars, then that would be a bit of an obstacle, like as far as the identifying. However, with the Moon God, there's only going to be 570 of them. So already you're talking about 5% versus like the apes that are like 10,000, So there's this limited amount that can be done. And the variety in the Moon Gods is such, like, the Akutars themselves, unless you truly get like a very unique one, like with the background, or like there's a lot of traits that are kind of, I guess, overly populated. But the Moon Gods, for sure, I think, like, I can kind of identify people now based on what their Moon God is.
Yeah. It's cool to see that everyone doing the trading and finding the one that fits them, perfectly. It's so cool to see. And there's only 500, and I would say a lot of us have, more than one, so.
and I do think there's something to the art of it, because I had a chance to mint the apes. I saw them. I thought they were terrible. I still kind of stick by that opinion of like the art. I didn't really jump into the PFPs. It just never resonated with me. But when the Akutars come out and just the detail, all you have to do is just zoom in and you can really see like how they are. Now we have the Aku Cribs being launched. And while it's a slow rollout, we're slowly getting to see some of the images. And I had the opportunity to see these Akutars running around the crib and seeing the legs and everything. It's scary, like, how realistic it looks, like it's a futuristic realm. But it definitely, it doesn't look like a cartoon at all.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it. Just like all the pictures that everyone posted and everything like that, they all look phenomenal. Like I'm really excited because, like I said, I have a lot of other NFTs. You have the Aku sculpture, the light. Like I'm pretty excited. Like there's a game. It's like, I think it's called No Man's Sky. It's a survival game, and you build like your own house. It's similar to what we're doing, but not NFT aspect. It's only, video game aspect. So it's really cool to see how it's something like that, but it's all the things that, that I love, I'm invested in. Like I love art, so I'd love to have the digital realm as well.
We every time like Summer or Micah and gets on like our little assembly hall chats every Thursday, and they're always reminding the community that this is more than NFT. There's so many different verticals. You know, there's the education element. There's the merchandise, of course. There's the potential for a movie, a TV show. The sky's the limit. What vertical are you most excited about, and as far as potential, and what would you kind of like to see happen first?
Most excited about, I'm really excited for however they're gonna produce the movie, web series, TV series, however it's gonna go down. I'm so excited to see, the like maybe a 30-minute, film. Like we get a snippet on the NFTs and we love it. So I'm just super excited on like a real like web series or whatever. So that's what I'm most excited for. And what was the other question? I'm sorry.
Just which one do you think kind of happens first, or would you like to see kind of happen first? I'm guessing it's the series.
Yeah, yeah. I know how long that's going to take, So that, and I'm really excited to see more of. We had like the planes, drop this summer and stuff like that. I'm really excited to see like all the partners because that's going to take time if it's apparel. So because we have a lot of great partners, Puma, Ice Cream, PPC, Vandal, Who Decides War. Like, man, it's crazy. It's stacked.
So how do you find time? You're running a store and you're about to open up another store, and yet you're still trying to stay plugged in to the NFT space, because it is definitely 24/7. I definitely feel like the last month or so has kind of slowed down a lot for everything. But certainly before that, you know, like how do you find that kind of life balance? Because you definitely don't want to be stuck to your screen, but you also have a pretty big life commitment.
Yeah, having great people surrounding me, that are also involved in this community that don't let me miss any drops. So that's one thing, the great people that I have in my store, that are also in the Aku community. That's really how the only way, and morning times, because we don't open till later in the afternoon until evening. So that's when I try and do all my, research or get in the discords then and interact with people. But it's really hard, like you said, in the evenings because, Ice Cream, we're slammed in the evenings for sure. And yeah, it's just having great people around me is the best thing.
What other projects have your interest? Because you had
Uh,
mentioned Trevor Jones and Wisby.
yeah, so Trevor Jones, big time. Like Chris, I was at the castle party with him. I met, man, Chris, Cal, Joff, so many people out there. It was so cool to see, John Bronson, so many people out there, that are, and other than that, I'm really invested in Wisby. I love that the Wisby group is really incorporated with Aku. Like Glitch is always in the Wisby group as well. It's really cool. 33, I love that he produces just amazing art from artists that I have never heard about. Like I never heard about Lefty out there, and I won that from a drop right there from him. I got a physical and the digital. So there's one more. Greg Mike, love his stuff. I have more art on the wall from him right here. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, other than that, I'm really invested in like those real 4 projects.
Did you get all 5 keys for the Vandals or the Wisby keys?
Yeah, I got all 5. I'm waiting on that physical key necklace. I'm also going to get a physical of all my tier 8 bears from him. Like I love what he's doing over there as well.
I haven't burned any keys. I kind of was waiting for me to get like I keep waiting for that physical key because I don't want to get rid of that like anyways. But
Totally.
but uh, but I haven't, like I almost kind of feel like I want to kind of just keep the keys, but at the same time it's like, well, is it just like a pass and then it won't really be worth anything? But I think the keys actually looked really cool. Um, that was kind of a fun drop too. So
Yeah, I love the way they did that drop. I had a bunch of friends involved just because I like how you could pick your own price. Like that was really unique, you know.
yeah, but then the way that it worked out, it's like, God, you could have gotten all 5 keys for like, $5, if you'd been on it. Um, that was
So see, I felt bad. I didn't want to. I wanted to give Wisby more money than $5. That's why I was like, this is I feel like I'm robbing him, you know? That's how I felt like. So I bought like one for five, one for 100. I tried to space
I
it out a little bit because I was just like, this is wild.
yeah, yeah. Is Trevor Jones, is that Bitcoin Angel?
Yeah, he did. That's the Bitcoin Angel. Yeah.
He didn't do Forever
That
Mom.
one. Did Forever Mamba?
Yeah,
That was Boss Logic.
Boss Logic. Yes, sir. I always get those kind of mixed up because
Yeah,
both of those came out up
that's one that I on my bucket list.
to get a Forever Mamba.
Man.
Yeah, yeah,
No, not yet. That's one I'm gonna get for sure.
yeah. Well, the market bargain deals going on right now. So, but I think there is something, like I think we had like a pretty crazy run, obviously, but there is longevity, especially in like the true artists. There's a guy named Ted Chin. He's he does a lot of the like landscapes with like animals, and like I don't think I'm ever gonna light the world on fire and make tons of money, but I bought a bunch of his art and I love it. And I actually got like a physical print for one of his, and you know that's kind of the fun of it, like, and it gets lost. And I think that especially in the Aku, like the chapter, especially like the full sets, like I think I have probably around 40 or 50, yeah, probably like 50 chapters. And so I'll probably, kind of unload some of them at some point, but I'll always definitely keep a handful of my complete sets. I think, do you feel that the Moon God, um, is kind of like a mastermind, like the amount, like it's one thing to kind of be in like a group that you're all collecting and stuff, but I really kind of this podcast has helped more than anything to realize, like, I mean, you're an entrepreneur, like Wiggles is doing amazing things, Aramanu, you know I'm leaving the rest of them out, but like everything that we're all like if you have any kind of interest, like there's somebody that can kind of help you and guide you in that Discord.
That's the one thing I love, like literally there is someone doing something, and it's iconic, like I've been talking to Skin Tao, about because he owns pizza and ice cream, like wouldn't that go great together? So just it's so cool to see how many businesses and people that can help you in that community, because you're exactly right. It is like a mastermind community. Like, and if I have questions or anything, that's the first place I do go to for everything, So, and then meeting everyone in Miami last year and actually putting a face to a name, that's even better.
So with as many intelligent people as we have, it turns out that a lot of us are pretty degenerated. With the poker, certainly the fantasy. How is that for you? Like, I have the poker background, the fantasy stuff. Shintal and Lovox are big into that. Poker as well. Was it Freddie Numbers was running a poker game? So what is your level of degen?
I'm not too hardcore, to be honest with you. When I opened up my business, I kind of stopped watching sports. So now that we're back in fantasy, I only know the older names. Like it's like Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. It's crazy to think. Like I'm looking at these wide receivers and I'm just like, who are these guys? Like I have no idea. But I'm in a group with Skin Tao, and I see he helps us out a lot. Like a lot.
So Lovox is pretty good. He's won I think 2 weeks. I this past week I literally felt like I did something. Like I was like, I got some good teams. Like one of them's going to hit. And I kid you not, I had 4 out of my 5 teams within the top 10 of the bottom. Like, like, like I felt like I could have, like, how does that even happen? Like, and like, it's not like I even left out a roster spot or accidentally picked someone up on IR. It's like, geez, that is not for me. But but I would love to sit down and have a Aku poker tournament. You know,
Yeah, I wish I was more into poker. I never played growing up. Like my brother is really big into poker, but me, I was never into it. Unfortunately, I want to learn. I go to the casino. We have a casino in the middle of the mountains out here, so I
yeah.
look at the tournaments. I see them.
So, owning a business is you can't kind of just clock out, ever. Um, are you able to like travel, and you said you're a foodie, so like I gotta assume that you've got a bucket list of places you want to go eat your way through.
Yeah, I've been so where we're at in the mountains, since it is so seasonal, we have like a good 3 months where there is no one there. So that's like all of our vacation time. So yeah, I've been fortunate to travel, a lot of places. Like I went to Amsterdam and Scotland, in this summer that was amazing. Love those places. Amsterdam is one of my favorite places in the world. I heard, you've been there. Is what I heard last time. But yeah, I travel as often as I can. If I can make it happen, I'll do it because life is truly about experiences to me. Money will come and go. Obviously, don't spend all of your money, but if you can make it happen, I always will make it happen because I won't. You don't want to live life with regret. That's my biggest thing.
I live a very simple life. I like, you know, I live in Los Angeles, so it's quite expensive. But like I used to have like, the 3 bedroom, house and stuff. And I realized like, I spent all my time in my bedroom. I don't cook, so I spent all my time in my bedroom. Like I was barely even in my living room, because like I watch everything on my laptop anyways. Um, and so I was like, it's better for me to downsize. Um, that got me into having an Airbnb business years ago, which was in large part out of the fact that I was just never there. It's like, why am I paying so much for a place I'm never at? And I have always thought like spending that extra money like on going on trips, even like if it's like for a 2 or 3 day trip, it's totally worth it. Just it's better to go for 2 days than to never have gone. I gave Cheers a hard time about the mayonnaise on the fries in Amsterdam. Like, and then Lovox didn't do that episode, and I told him, I was like, "Can you believe that?" And he's like, "It's the best," and I was like, "Oh, you guys, like that's terrible."
I was never about it ever until I went to Amsterdam and I saw I was like, what? They don't put mayonnaise on French fries? And then they have all types of sauces, and then my girlfriend's from Peru and that's all they do down there. It's like their mayonnaise for French fries is like our ketchup for French fries down there. It's wild.
have you gone to Peru?
No, not yet. I definitely plan on it. Hopefully, beginning of next year.
Yeah, I went to Machu Picchu a couple years back, and stayed in Cusco and went did Machu Picchu. But I love ceviche,
Yeah.
and so that I pretty much ate that. And then their big thing is guinea pig down there too. That was different. I will give you this. This is my one thing that you have to kind of check out is in Prague. They have a special dessert, and it's funny because like the locals there, make fun of it because it's like a touristy thing, but
Mm.
it's called a Trendlik, Trdnelik, and it looks like kind of like a soft pretzel, but it's kind of like that, like an elephant ear type dough, and they
Mhm.
make it into a cone and they like kind of cook it over a fire, and then it's soft serve ice cream that they have inside.
Like
It's
a spiral, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I had one in Amsterdam. They called them chimney cakes. is what they
Yeah.
have over there, and it was amazing. Like that was unreal. Like I immediately had tons of ideas. If my store was 200 square feet bigger, I would definitely add
Yeah.
that.
I mean, just that I don't know what kind of, gremlins they have in that oven making that cook, but and then you can get the different kind of like Nutella or chocolate or caramel, or it was that's worth going to Prague, for any of our listeners, since you've already kind of gotten the experience from Amsterdam.
I want to go
Um,
to the where it's from, though. It's probably
yeah,
10 times over there.
yeah. And Prague is a beautiful city too. It's very historic. It's actually my favorite place in Europe. Uh,
Really?
yeah, yeah. Barcelona is a close second, and but then Iceland. I don't really kind of consider Iceland Europe, because like it's not mainland, and it's
Yeah.
almost like its own thing. But Iceland's like the best place for like R&R. Like they're all about, health. They've got the hot springs. The Blue Lagoon is amazing, and then they have like, it's almost like you're on a different planet because they're so far north. They don't really have trees, and they've got the glaciers, but then they have the volcanoes. That's like just a different world. That was pretty amazing too.
I've only had a layover there. I've always wanted to. I wish I would have prolonged my stay there to check out all that because it looked amazing.
Yeah, and you don't need a lot of time. It's a small island, like you can power around pretty easily. Um, so I'd like to kind of, wrap up the show with like our off the beat question, and then my final question. So my off the beat question, usually we do like a bucket list, but you're kind of traveled already. You're definitely a foodie. So I'm going to ask, what's the one thing that you would like to experience, that would scare the shit out of you, and that's the hardest thing to do? Like what's kind of like that life experience, but that kind of tackles a fear of yours that you might have?
After I open up this store, I plan on trying to open up a store in Amsterdam. That's like my dream. That is my ultimate dream, and I have some connections out there. And yeah, I know it's across the world, but
So
we'll
you
try.
fell in love with Amsterdam, big
Oh, I
time.
love it. I love the area. Yeah, like I so awesome. The food, the people. I know it rains a lot, whatever, but it's such an amazing city.
See, I thought maybe like skydiving, swimming with sharks.
No, I'm not into anything like that. For me, it's I'm so business focused. Those are the fears like that. Those fears is to me what helps me build character. If I shy away from it, it does nothing for me. It's like if I face it, like I'll build that confidence. So that's how I kind of analyze what fear and what I'm doing in life right now. That's where I guess I'm focused at. For me,
Yeah.
it's not too much thrills. Like I don't really like roller coasters. I'd never want to jump out of a plane. Like that shit does scare me, but it's not something I desire to do. For me, it's like putting every dollar I have on the line for a dream that I really want to live. That scares the shit out of me, and I want to make that happen.
That's Man, well, you fucking crushed that because I was like, I thought it was going to be something totally different, but no, that's great. Um, so I always say, the whole point of this podcast is, to connect and tell moon god stories. So who is the moon god that you would like to see on the show? And of course, the caveat is you have to help us get them on them.
Hmm. Um, I think I was with Cheers yesterday. Two Chimps. He supported me. He bought a hat this week and a shirt. So I 100% want to see him on. Like I think that would be a great person to have on. So I'll shoot him a message.
Yeah, yeah. Shoot him a message because I don't know that I've even interacted with two chimps. But with that said, like in Miami and all these meetups, like that's the weirdest thing because like if I introduce myself, it's like, oh hey, I'm Jason. I meant JwowLax, or like my Twitter handle is bar therapist. Like it's like, I don't know, however you know me, like like
Yeah,
it's
no,
there's so many different names to try and keep up with, you know.
I know. I just wear StirPan everything so everyone knows it's me. That's all I ever do. So
I,
I'll have to
I
send you something too.
what's that?
I'll send you something when I get the beanies because you said you're a beanie guy.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. So it was I'm going to ask a very obvious question. StirPan Creamery, pretty simple in coming up with the name.
So and it's from the ice cream, rolled ice cream is originally from Thailand. The idea is they call it stir fried ice cream over there. And
Hmm.
then in the UK, they call the machines ice pans. So I
Hmm.
just kind of combined StirPan Creamery, and I just wanted something unique because like I said, I never want to do what everyone's doing. And at the time, there's one in New York called 10 Below, and everyone was doing 3 Below, 2 Below. It's like so not original, you know. So I just wanted something different, unique.
Did you ever think about doing the nitrogen ice cream stuff? I've only
I never thought about doing ice cream ever until I saw this rolled ice cream, and I was like, I loved Benihana's growing up. That was the place I went on my birthdays and everything like that. So it's like once I saw basically ice cream Benihana's, I was like, this is it. This is gonna be a hit where I live.
we have a Cold Stone here, and the only reason that I ever went to Cold Stone because there's actually like a Manhattan Beach Creamery, which is my go to because it's a, you know, like I like to support like family owned and
Yeah.
locals. But I heard Cold Stone every time you tip, they're supposed to sing, and so of course I tip, and I'm waiting for my song, and these lazy kids never sing, you know. But then I don't want to be a jerk and be like, "Aren't you supposed to sing?" Because I know it's like, you know, they're
I didn't
hate.
know that was a thing. So
Uh,
funny.
I heard about that. I wanted to actually drop an interesting nugget about Amsterdam and the canals. Did you know, like they say, like if you fall into the canals, it's like beyond super dangerous because of so many rusted bicycles that have fallen in there. Like the water, like they have a lot of people every year. Well, not a lot, but people die every year because they'll fall in drunk or whatever. But like they'll get caught like in the and can't swim out because there's so many bicycles in those canals.
Yeah, I definitely heard that, and I saw like them picking the bikes out from the canals when I was there. I was like, this is insane.
They had the weirdest public restrooms too, because it looked like a telephone booth, like, and it's
No,
just like a screen, and like I, my buddy goes to use the bathroom and he's still talking to me, and it's like there's just this metal thing separating us. There's, different strokes for different folks. So
totally.
yeah, but leave it to me to end the show on toilet humor. Was there, this is your platform today too, so shill anything that you would like before we call it a day.
Yeah, just follow me on StirPanCreamery. Everything basically. Twitter, I'm most active. I post 3 times a day. It could be my cat, could be ice cream, mostly Aku or Wisby or 33 or something like that. But I'm active all the time, so definitely give me a follow.
That's great.
And come check out the shop in Breckenridge.
I, I, me and Lovelock both went to App State, and that's a big ski town in North Carolina. And I, after I left college, I was like, I'm done with cold weather. I've done it twice where I've surfed and then gone to ski Big Bear here in LA just so I can tell that story. Um, but I've always wanted to go up to Colorado and do some skiing. And I've also, I know, where is what's that film festival that's up in the mountains? Sundance,
Yeah, that's in
Utah.
Utah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I always wanted to kind of I've never skied like the legit Rocky Mountains, like the Colorado, you know, East Coast, it's all ice.
I've never skied anything but here. So it's like all I know is here, and it's everyone tells me how amazing it is, and it truly is. Once we get a powder day, like man, there's nothing like that. Like I always say the same thing. I'm like, why do I live here? It is so cold, and then it snows. You get on the mountain, and you're like, okay, this is truly why I live here, because I can, all my employees basically they'll we can ride and then we can come ski, you know, so or we can ride and then come work, you know, at the same within the store basically is at the bottom of the mountain, so it's perfect.
Snowboard or ski? Board?
I snowboard. I just say ski because it's easier. Because I'll say ride if anything.
I always I started out skiing, and then when I went to college, I got into snowboarding, and then as I got older, I just hated clicking in and clicking out, and like I have big feet, so I can never like I always had really bad hang, like
Yeah,
toe
your toes will hang over and
off when I would catch edges, and then so when I got out here, I was like, I'm done. I'll just get the skis so I can just shoot off the lift and go straight
I tell
down.
people, do you want to ski or do you want to have fun or do you want to snowboard? You know, that's kind of what I tell everyone, you know, because I can get on some skis and we can go down. I can teach you that real easy.
That's great. Well, that's going to do it for another episode of To the Moon God Pod for StirPan Creamery, your favorite ice cream place in the world, but you can find it in Breckenridge. I'm JwowLax. We will see you next time.
Appreciate it.